Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Call Box. It's where you go for police info. And I'm your host, Lieutenant Vince Lewis, joined by my co-hosts today, my cadre of super special PIO sergeants, Lorraine Fernandez and Rob Scherer. Welcome back to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Buff.
Well, let's cover some updates. Recently, our leadership went before mayor and council and gave them status on where we're at they gave us 37 recommendations, and we're looking at continuous improvement. So we're looking at these topics of how we can better serve our community, how we can better manage our data and share that data, how we can better approach topics as we continue to evolve, as we continue to strive to be the police department of the community, not only demands, but deserves. Mm-hmm. So all of those things that we've been making progress on, so many of them were, low hanging and easy to do, but some of them are going to take a little bit of time, and some of them actually require some ongoing, maintenance of things. So what I would recommend you, the viewer listener, check out the City of Phoenix YouTube and go to the most recent policy meeting before council and see the presentation that our leadership gave. But we're going to cover a little bit of those topics today with some of the context from our perspective, at least. And let's kind of go down the list and see how far we get. Talking about the modernized data collection. Now, you guys remember back in the day, we had what was called PACE. It was a computer system. It was kind of like an Atari.
It was kind of a computer system.
It was built for us specifically, but that's how we manage our records. So the records management system, RMS, is what we're talking about. And we've gone through a couple of different evolutions. We just left a previous vendor, and now we've moved on to Motorola. You guys familiar with the new system that we have, the P1 Motorola?
Yeah, I've been playing with it, and as we get kind of inquiries that come in, it's been pretty user-friendly. Of course, it's always going to have its challenges moving from one system to the other, but I will say it's been pretty straightforward to find information, and the merger was really seamless. I felt like the information moved over pretty quickly, and I don't have any complaints.
Yeah,
so
well, speaking of complaints, cops hate two things, right?
Change,
and the way things are.
Yeah.
So how do you see things going with the new records management system, Rob?
Yeah, I think kind of experiencing that transition from PACE to our previous one, that was rough. I'll be frank. That was a rough transition to get everybody to buy in. And really kind of the system wasn't that user-friendly element. I think P1 and a lot of what we can do and a lot of, specific to our job, or really any sort of, any job out there, whether it's patrol or investigations, detectives, whatever they're doing, it seems a lot more streamlined to what we need at a given time, and what we need is in one place where we can get it. So, no complaints from me. I know, obviously, like you said, there's people out there that will find something wrong, and we get it. And it's always an evolution with these things, but exciting new change, and really should help us with that records management system and getting that information we need to do.
Yeah, and we're going to be drilling down into further better data keeping, better reporting on that data, and things. We're going to be tracking things that we weren't tracking before, so that's going to help. NIBRS, do you know what NIBRS stands for, Sergeant Fernandez?
National Incident-Based Reporting System.
Yes, that's true. So why is that significant, though? Because what we used to do is report crimes in our area and our area of responsibility to the FBI using the Uniform Crime Reporting System. And there was standards for that. Basically, we've tracked violent crimes, or Part 1 crimes, right? And then there were other parts that lesser, well, I would say lesser, but they're property crimes and things like that. So they would categorize that. So they would want to know things like how many homicides, how many robberies, and those types of things, sexual assaults. Those are all things that we track and reported according to that. But we've moved to the National Incident-Based Reporting System. Do you have any information on that?
What I have so far, I have basic information.
We're all learning, right?
Yeah, because we're all learning on this new system.
Yeah.
What's nice with the new system is it tells you when you're compliant with it. So you can't finish your report until you've entered all your data to make sure that we are compliant.
So officers are going to spend more time, but it's going to benefit us in the future because we're going to be able to do things like ask for resources, hire more police officers, and do just an all-around better job. I think in order to gain compliance with that, you're going to have to give 3 months worth of data. And we've done that. So we just recently got certified as a NIBRS compliant agency. So look for more information out in the future as we continue to improve. We're going to take a break real quick, but when we come back, we're going to talk about more of public safety updates that were provided to council. And stick around after the break, and we'll see you then.
I'm a busy mom. I'm also a Phoenix police officer devoted to keeping our community safe.
I'm a Little League coach. And I'm a Phoenix police detective and a part of the team here too.
Find endless career options with one of America's best large employers.
Welcome back to the Call Box. We're talking about updates, public safety updates that our police leadership provided to council recently at the policy session. And we're going through the list. We talked about our modernized data collection with the brand new P1 RMS system through Motorola. We talk about NIBRS compliance, and we achieved that. Let's move on to Community Connect. Rob, do you know what the Community Connect program is?
Yeah, it's basically to connect with the community, and it starts at that first call for service, and such an important first element. I think a lot of us as officers, we're like, hey, we're going there, but we all acknowledge they've contacted someone from our department already. And part of that contact, sometimes we get there an extended period before we get there, depending on that day, and they weren't excited or weren't happy. I think an important part, there's two big parts of this. A, we keep constant communication with that caller as we're going through that call for service to where when the officer gets there, or anything kind of some subsequent messages that we may send after that officer leaves with report numbers and whatnot. But it
so
also,
when you call the police, you get a text message that says police are on their way.
Yep, police are on their way, or it's holding, or police. There's times we call it going prior to a call, but you're going to a priority 2 call, and then a higher level priority 1 call, a hot call comes out. There's danger involved, there's public safety involved, things like that we're going to go to that before we go to a report call, kind of say.
So you get notifications of delays, but then you'll also get an opportunity for a survey, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's so important. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about this too with policy, but it's so important to get that feedback. Again, we don't love change, but it allows us to really, our whole goal as being officers is to serve our community as best we can. And if we can get some of that feedback on, hey, how'd the dispatcher do? How'd the officer do? Did you get this? Did you get that? It really helps us ensure that we're reaching those, and clearing those hurdles that we need to better serve our community. And all that information is great.
So the information that we got from our Assistant Director of Technical Services and Records Division, Jody Wolf, gave us 1.6 million automated messages have been sent out since the program went live. And the feedback that we've been getting is about a 74% satisfaction over the service that they received from the Phoenix Police Department. It was great. They looked at things like the department overall satisfaction, officer satisfaction, and of course our call taker 911 communications operator satisfaction. Out of 5 stars, they're hovering around the 4+ stars. So room for improvement?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be room for improvement, but we also have to understand that these are high volume incidents, highly emotional incidents that are happening, that officers are responding to. And so to be able to get a positive feedback as far as 74%, I think that's a really large statement to make, that we're out there doing our job and providing the best customer interaction that we can.
So they continue to talk about things like behavioral health, and we launched a program with our communications operators. When they take those calls, they'll ask the caller, "Are you looking for police, fire, EMS, or behavioral health services?" Do you remember when we put that information out?
Yeah, it was December 15th that we put that they started implementing that. And we want to preface that, and we did have a call box about this. This is something that dispatchers had been asking and filtering. It's just now they're upfront with it as a question, primarily when the first call comes in. So hopefully they can help get that information. And if it is behavioral health that needs to be addressed, they're able to get that person over to the right resources. And that way it frees up our dispatchers. So it's a huge help, and it is something that's been implemented. And we're just now, letting the public know that, hey, we're filtering this as soon as possible.
Yeah, and it frees up our officers too, because you get the right resources to the right caller for those needs. And if it's not something that needs a police officer's presence, they can go through our partner, our behavioral health specialist partners, or even the Phoenix City's community action program, which has specialists on board to help people in crisis. So that's good. It's better than good. It's great. Let's talk about policy. Rob, we've recently taken to allowing, or actually soliciting, going out there and asking for the public's feedback on policies before they get implemented. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's unique in the sense, like, we've been doing it for quite some time, well over a year plus. And really any policy that we're bringing forward, our policymakers and those that get tasked with that job, they look at our old policy, look at national trends, look at different things that other departments are doing, and kind of try to alter our policy to bring it up to date and make sure, again, we're doing what we need to do for our community.
Do you remember when we put out the use of force, when we solicited information from the community about our use of force? That was,
I don't remember the exact date that we put it out for the community's response, but I believe we put it into implementation in February of 2024.
yeah, there was a few dozen substantive changes that were made to the policy. It wasn't us telling the community how we were going to use force against them. It was a collaboration of efforts, and really feedback shaped the policy. So then now we go back to the community and say, in order for us to do our job, keep you safe, here's what you told us, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah, we start with, hey, this is what we think are the good changes, and but tell us what you think. And that's, a lot of our officers internally, they'll get our feedback also, on some of those changes, because we have 1 or 2 years of experience. We want to give our feedback also, but all of that feedback comes in, goes back to that same committee. They decide what's best to go into the final policy, and then at that point, obviously, we put it out for training and so on.
So we looked at less lethal tools, youth interactions, and interactions with individuals experiencing homelessness. And those policies are expected to be implemented in early this year, like 2026. Another update was the new compliments and complaints portal and hotline launched in November of 2025. You heard about this?
I have heard about it.
Yeah. So it's going to be as simple as getting on a website, filling out a form. And what that's going to do is they're going to partner with our Office of Accountability and Transparency. Do you know about them, Ron?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They obviously, just going off some stats here, they have 159 administrative investigations that they've reviewed. And really, it's just another element of that kind of review, and to make sure we're being, open, transparent, and all that. And it's just another level of review for the department.
Which is, we welcome that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've always felt like if we're doing our job, we've got nothing to hide.
Exactly.
So, and we want to do that. We want to be transparent and accountable. Lorraine, you and I were talking before we go into air about the changes to the First Amendment support management policy.
Yeah.
So this has to do with our public safety response team, right?
Yeah, it is. And primarily our main goal is always we want to keep our public safe. We want to make sure that if they're out there and they're wanting to express their First Amendment right in order to vocalize their opinions, we want them to do it safely. So we have our detectives and officers here that will communicate with the leaders of those groups, and we have that information so we know the direction that they're planning to be or where they're planning to be, and we want to make sure that they can be kept as safe as possible. And if that means us preparing and shutting down particular roadways so that way that is safe, it is just only an advantage for us to be accountable and be there and let our community know that we're here to let them voice their opinion.
Perfect. Public safety, that's what it's all about. Partnering with the community to make sure that you have the chance to exercise your rights in a safe environment. I want to thank my co-hosts today for joining us. Thank the crew for producing. Reminder that you can help solve crime in your community by sending tips to Silent Witness. Visit silentwitness.org and call 480-WITNESS. We're hiring. Go to our social medias, but go to joinphxpd.com. And until next time, be safe out there.